Episode of Go Team Score Points. We start off by talking about reviews.
And then we go into updates from my mom.
We talked about the trade, specifically Luka Doncic and the Jimmy Butler situation.
And then Iris shares some thoughts about the Pistons Cavs game.
Yes. Then we played a game of this or that. Then we ended with our usual MVP, LVP, and what we learned. It's our best episode yet.
Okay, let's do it.
Here we are. Season 1, episode 14.
Unbelievable.
This week, I watched the Pistons and the Cavs battle it out in Detroit. And you know what? The Pistons, they're still bad boys.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We'll get to it. But I'm not going to talk much about the game because...
Yeah, there's other stuff to talk about.
There's other stuff. So many other things.
I don't know who won that game. I'm excited to learn that.
The Cavs won. Of course they did.
Of course they did.
They're really good this year. So they say.
Yeah.
So I've heard.
Okay. Is that pretty much all you have to say about that game?
It's not. I have a little more to say.
Okay. Great.
Okay. We should start with any reviews. Do you have any reviews? I have one.
I have 2 informal reviews. You have one, you said?
Yeah, it's also informal. It was my daughter Ruby, and she said, I think it's been good for you.
Well, she's not wrong, right?
She's not wrong. Like, it's been a delight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had Aaron told me that he really liked the Cones of Dunshire references. He appreciated that. And then I met Alice.
Wow. Hey, Alice.
Hey, Alice. And Alice's comment was, I listened to your podcast. Which was a good review. And then my sister said that the highlight of the episode for her was the Anthony Edwards from ER picture, which was my highlight too. It was so good.
Thank you.
Have we said you're the editor on the air? Like that's your
that
thing?
Was me.
Did we do my mom's comments? All right, email from my mom?
Yes, email.
Yeah, it's long. Okay. Comments. Congratulations on the YouTube video. It was great to watch, and you are both so good in front of the camera! ! I loved the photo of Anthony Edwards on ER when Iris was naming the Western Conference All-Stars. She said, I must mention that if the number of All-Stars is to be expanded, Derek White must be included. He's my pick for best unsung hero. He was, do you know who that is?
He's from the same hometown as me.
Right. That guy. Yeah. I sort of disagree with my mom there. He has not been his usual self. I think he's hurt. I think he's a little hurt. But as we know, the second quarter of the season doesn't matter. So maybe he'll be fine. Anyway, okay. I fully agree with Irish that the second quarter is the least interesting part of basketball. Such an astute observation. How great that you had breaking news occur during your podcast. I would have been unaware that it was such a big deal other than Luka being involved. When I watch him play, he is always better than he looks like he will be. Most players seem to sculpt their bodies as the years go by. I'm not criticizing his body. He just looks more like he might be a football player than a basketball player. With this said, he's an amazing player. I wish he looked less grumpy and would occasionally smile. It is, after all, a game. And then she said in parentheses, I know, it is his work and is very serious. And then either Scal or Drew Carter said that Luka lost $150 million because of the trade.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Because of that Supermax extension thing that he can't sign anymore. All I know about AD, who's the guy that Luka got traded for, is that he's very tall and has a 7'6" wingspan, so is an incredible defensive player. 7'6" wingspan. That's wild. I fully agree with Sam. I will also never be able to root for the Lakers. What she learned is if a player wants a break, he can raise his hand. She'll watch for it. And then as an aside, she said, Dad knew about this, says it's rare, and has seen Porzingis do it. So we were right. A great job on your... Yeah, of course, obviously. Great job on your first video podcast. Thanks, Mom.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Love the check-in from your mom. Okay, We've got... I think it's time... We're going to talk about the game later. I want to talk about the trade first.
Yeah.
Trade talk.
Great.
I'm calling this segment Trade Talk. Okay, so Trade Talk is going to be, we're going to talk about the Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis trade, and then later we're going to talk about Jimmy Butler's situation a little bit. And then there were other trades if you want to talk about that. I don't know about any of those.
Okay. I know a little bit about some of this.
Okay, so to catch anyone up who's new to basketball, newer than me, Luka Doncic was traded. No one knew about it. One day he woke up and they were like, you're going to play with the Lakers tomorrow and we're going to take Anthony Davis. And the Mavs fans, that's Luka Doncic's team, they're mad about this.
His old team. Yeah, his old team.
Yes. So I saw many analogies of what it's like. So I think the most common one is it's as if the Mavericks traded a 2023 Cadillac Escalade in return for a 2015 Toyota 4Runner.
Okay.
Because like in 2015, a brand new 2015 Toyota 4Runner was like a really great car. But now it's like, here's a better one. And I'm not making these up. I heard these on the internet. It's as if One Direction gave up Harry Styles for Justin Timberlake.
Okay.
Remember Justin Timberlake? He was in a boy band.
I do. Yeah, I get it.
But he's not Harry Styles.
Okay. All right.
Well, he's problematic.
Yeah,
Susie taught us that.
Hey, Susie.
Okay. So the mystery is, why did they do this? Why was it like, why it had to be secret? Because every single person is like, what the did you do?
Yeah.
To Nico Harrison. Nico Harrison is the general manager of the Mavericks.
Right.
And he did this and didn't tell anyone. So you asked me to come up with possible reasons why this happened. And I have several.
Great. I love it.
Did you make some too?
Well, mine were closer to like basketball reasons. I heard someone say that if Luka and his agent had been in on those conversations, like I don't think he wanted to go.
Right.
Or everyone is saying that it was a shock to him and he didn't want to go. And there's an argument that if they decided they were going to trade him, like talking to other teams about it, it would have got back to Luka, and then it would have become like a Jimmy Butler kind of situation where he and his agent would have been saying like, nope, don't trade me there. I'm not going to try. I'm not going to re-sign with you. I'm not going to be the person you want me to be on your team. So the Mavericks general manager might have thought like, okay, if we're moving on, I need to keep this quiet so that we don't tank his value. I don't buy it. That makes sense to me if the trade had been even. Like if it had been worth it for the Mavericks to get Anthony Davis back, but it's not. He's just not Doncic. He's not that good.
Right.
He's very good. He's not as good as him.
Right.
Okay, so I look back until like 1960. I look back at NBA champions back until 1960. Basically, like first team all NBA is up until like a year or two ago is made up of 2 guards, 2 forwards, and 1 center. And it's like the best at each position for the year. And they never play together. It's just like an honorary thing. So like the all NBA team, I don't know if I could name them all from last year, but the all NBA team might have been like, you know, like guys that aren't on the same team, aren't on the same conference, whatever. It's just a way to look back and see like, okay, who were the best players that year, right? Like that, it's kind of a record of who the best players were that year. And back until 1960, there are 4 teams total. There are 4 teams that won an NBA championship without having an all NBA player. That makes sense?
Since 1960.
Since 1960, it's happened 4 times.
Basically, you have to have a number 1 guy on your team to win the championship.
That's
right?
my point of all of this. Just to illustrate the point that basketball wise, it does not make sense. Like the Mavericks would have to buck a lot of history in order to win a title this year, which is why they said they made this trade. Was because they thought it gave them a better chance to win. It doesn't make any sense. The other way to illustrate this, there are the best 15 players of all time is a debatable thing. That's not like a real list or whatever. The people that I came up with just for this is like for Alice and Hannah, basically. The people that I have on this list are Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Tim Duncan, Kobe, Steph Curry, Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, Hakeem, Shaq, and Moses Malone. You've seen 2 of those people in a Cheesecake Factory. Of the 75 NBA championships that have happened ever, those 15 players have accounted for 50 of the championships. And I even took out like overlaps. Like Kobe and Shaq were on the same team for those, so I only counted that as one championship. That's
airtight.
I know. And it's a little bit of circular logic. This is where the airtightness falls apart because part of the reason they're considered the great players is because they won those championships. So it's like a little bit circular, the logic. But to my eyes, there are 4 players playing in the NBA right now that could end up on that list.
Yes.
Can you guess?
Jokic, Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum.
I did not put Jason Tatum down, mostly because I thought Hannah would be mad at me. But I
don't want you guys fighting any.
The other two that I put were Wemby, because there's a long way to go, but like it seems like at least physically he has the tools to do that. And then Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yes.
My point is that having one of those guys raises your ability to win a championship like almost immeasurably. Like if you think top 15 players account for 2/3 of the NBA championships, then getting rid of a guy who could be that, it just does not make sense. It's indefensible.
Right. Right. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, because what on earth happened? Like,
okay.
Could it be?
I'm glad you asked. Here's some reasons why I think Luka Doncic was traded. Okay. Yeah. Number one. Okay. I think he was traded because he has been banned from 3 of the 4 Olive Gardens in the Dallas metro area for abusing the free breadsticks policy. And the team cannot take the risk of him getting banned from the last one, because then they won't have any place for team dinners.
I like how there's like a subtle piece of that that's a little dig at his conditioning too. Not just subtle. Team dinners. It's like, well.
Okay. So also it could have been that there was a clerical error, that Harrison meant to trade Dwindle, who's the player right below Doncic on the roster. And he accidentally did that, and he's too embarrassed to tell everyone that it's time for him to get some readers.
Yeah, like this happened via email, like it happened via...
Yeah, and then he was like, oh my God, my wife keeps telling me I should just get some readers, and I've been trying to avoid it, and now I did this thing, and I'm just going to go with it.
Yeah, he's like, I'll just hit submit, whatever.
Right.
I think it's right.
It's done. It's fine. It's fine. Right. Okay. So if it wasn't that, then I think it could have been that Doncic has been banned from 20 of the 21 Chili's in the Dallas metro area for abusing the bottomless chips and salsa policy, and refused to leave until they fill a to-go bag with more chips for the road. And the team couldn't take the risk of him getting banned from the last one, because then they won't have a place for team dinners.
It's possible.
Okay. Or Nico Harrison had AD on his fantasy league team
and thought, I'll get him away from LeBron, who's hogging the ball.
Right.
Bring him here.
Yep.
He'll get his points. I'll get bragging rights over the guys from college.
Okay. If it wasn't that, I think it's that Doncic has actually been banned from the only Red Lobster in the Dallas metro area for abusing. He was putting the cheddar cheese biscuits in his pockets last time. And so the team was like, he's got to go, because that's where they have their team dinners.
Are those unlimited?
I guess.
Cheddar cheese biscuits?
Yeah.
Yeah. It could have been. It could have been any of those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's a plausible one.
Okay.
Mavericks owner, billionaire, and Trump supporter Miriam Aldir got rid of Doncic because he was a DEI hire. Or, and this is the only other reason I can think of, this is it, is that Doncic has been banned from 6 of the 7 Red Robin restaurants in the Dallas metro area for insisting on ordering off of the children's menu because they have unlimited refills of the mac and cheese, and the team doesn't want to risk him getting banned from the last one, because then they won't know where to have team dinners. So I think that we've figured out what happened.
Yeah, it's got to be one of those things.
Yep, it's one of them.
It's got to be. Thanks for that. I love that.
Well, great. I'm glad we could solve it.
I don't think we're gonna know. I don't think we're ever gonna know.
Let's talk about Jimmy Butler, because we're talking about trades. So we've been following the Jimmy Butler situation for a few weeks, and he finally got traded.
So what do you know about the trade?
Okay, here's what I know about the trade. Jimmy Butler was super unhappy in Miami, was doing all kinds of things to try and get traded. He really wanted to go to the Suns. He's not going to the Suns. That's not happening because everything's put in place in the Suns. Can't move. And then I don't know what happened, but now he's playing for the Warriors and everyone is happy. And I think this is going to be the right fit for him. Listen, you've said many times that we don't know what the real situation is. This is true. However, Jimmy Butler's been unhappy at every team that he's played for.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that?
The main piece that the Heat got back was this guy, Andrew Wiggins, who was a number 1 overall pick, maybe like 2019, somewhere in that area. And like I think he might have been a number 1 overall pick by the Timberwolves and then was not working out there. Like things were not going well and got traded. He got traded to the Warriors as kind of like this recoup project and has shown like he killed the Celtics in the 2022 finals. Like he was like arguably the second best player on the Warriors who won.
Then we hate that guy.
Why I hate that guy. And it was like, this really inconsistent guy who could never put it together. And then, of course, he figured it out when they were playing the Celtics and they won the series in large part because he was so good. So and then he's been inconsistent again since then. So Miami's taking a little bit of a gamble on whether he can be, on what he can be for their team. Miami's reputation, there's something called like heat culture. And the Heat culture is supposed to be this like really tight ship that's run really well. And until it isn't, when Butler's, raising holy hell there.
Yeah. Is that culture like fostered and run by Bernie?
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's right. He's really serious.
He's like, hey, everybody, before practice today, we're going to do trust falls. Get a buddy.
And they're like, where's your mouth? What is happening? Anyway. So Jimmy Butler's going to the Warriors. I think it was kind of like if you think about the situation that the Warriors are in, they've got this generational player, one of the best 15 of all time, maybe one of the best 10 of all time, really unique. He's 35 or 6 or something like that. Steph Curry is. And they are not in a position to give up on his era. They can't. Right. Until he's ready to go. Like there would be mutiny if the Warriors were like, hey, we're trying to sell high on Steph Curry. It would be awful. Anyway, he's signed through the end of the 2026-27 season. Steph Curry is, for like a crazy amount of money. And the Warriors aren't going to move off that contract for what I just said. They signed Jimmy Butler, who turned down a $50 million extension for next season. They signed him to a 2-year extension for like $120 million. So basically like he's guaranteed an extra year for a little bit more than twice as much money. For the Warriors, this makes a lot of sense to me. If he's healthy and he's right and he's happy and he's playing as well as he can, he's like really good. He's like his playoff. They always talk about playoff pedigree. He's like a real difference maker in a playoff series. He could absolutely like swing a playoff series for them. He'll take some of the load off Steph Curry offensively, which maybe next time you watch a Warriors game, they'll be focused on Butler. So Steph Curry will get to shoot some more. Who knows? And the other thing with like this, I guess like Jimmy Butler's personality or whatever is there's like a very decent chance that he was like deeply offended by the way the Heat treated him. And is about to go on like a vengeance tour, like, like burning places down. Like I bet when they play Miami, he'll score 60 points. He's that kind of guy. I think he will have something to prove over the next 2 years. And I think the Warriors, they had to do something. They couldn't let this Steph Curry era end without trying. If things don't go well at the end of the 26-27 season, Jimmy Butler's contract will be over, Steph Curry's contract will be over, and this guy Draymond Green's contract will also be over. Those are 3 like veteran, really expensive players. The Warriors will have a ton of room a ton of money basically to become the team that they want to be if it doesn't go well. So to me, it made a lot of sense for him to go there. The only other thing I wanted to say about it is I just want to like pump the brakes again on the Butler was like a diva narrative.
Hey,
there are like he's turned himself into a commodity, right? He is valuable to teams, and the Heat weren't seeing that value, didn't see that value. He wanted to forego the last year of his contract to sign for 1 or 2 more years and a lot more money. And like, if there's a place where people are willing to do that for him, he didn't do anything like illegal. He didn't. He just asked for a new contract and saw who would sign it. I don't know if he was feeling really disrespected by the Heat, showing up and working hard and sacrificing your body and risking getting injured again as a 35-year-old playing basketball without a guarantee of money past next year. Like, I know he's making a lot of money to play a kid's game, but like the owner is worth 50x of what Jimmy Butler is, and like, why not? If you can find an owner who's willing to pay that much for you, I don't think it's diva like at all. I think it's like savvy.
Right. I think I totally see what what you're saying. Like, it seems like he was exerting power in the only way he really could, right?
Yeah,
Like,
they're supposed to be happy about it because they're making a lot of money. I'm like, what?
right.
Relative to who? And by the way, they are worth it. They are making the
I know.
owners much more money than
Yes.
they're being paid. But like the Jimmy Butler thing, like reeked of racism to me. Like this mercurial,
Yes.
like moody, difficult, volatile, dangerous, spoiled NBA star. It felt very uncomfortable with all of those, those labels that were put on him. It seemed like way too easy, and like, I don't know. That, dangerous is kind of a strong word, but it felt like it was telling a story that made a lot of sense in the context of Black men being dangerous.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Okay. 2 more trades that are worth considering. The Sacramento Kings, not to be confused with the Los Angeles Kings. The Sacramento Kings traded this guy, De'Aaron Fox, who is a little point guard guy. Really, really good. One of the best, 30 players in the league. He got traded to the Spurs, which is pretty exciting.
Okay.
It'll be Wemby's best teammate, for
Great.
for a long time. And if they sign him to an extension, and then they'll sign Wemby to an extension. If they do that, if those two figure out how to play well together, I think De'Aaron Fox is still pretty young, 6 or 7 or something like that. De'Aaron Fox could be a really big deal for Wemby. People have been talking about how they make a lot of sense together. San Antonio also isn't like a prime free agent destination, not desirable in the way that Los Angeles or Miami or something like that might be. So it's kind of a big deal that they got this guy who he had told the Kings that he wanted to be traded, and it worked out where he went to San Antonio. And now there's a world where he and Wemby are really good for the next 6-7 years together, something like that. And then
Great.
The Cavs, before this game, I don't know if you heard, I think it was before the game that you watched, lost to the Celtics. And I think they've lost 9 or 10 games this year, and 2 of them have been to the Celtics. They've only played 3 times. But the Celtics traded for this guy, DeAndre Hunter, and he's a 6'8" tall, really athletic guy. And the only reason I bring it up is because they're really, really good. Obviously, the Cavs are really, really good. And their chemistry is also really, really good. Like, they seem to get along well and enjoy playing with each other. And bringing in a new difference maker kind of person to that situation can be a little dicey. You don't know exactly what's going to happen. But some of the thinking was that they got this guy because the Celtics give them trouble, and he would be good at defending either Tatum or Brown. He's big enough to do that.
Okay, Celtics. You think everyone is obsessed with you. You think that they got this guy just because they want to beat the Celtics? Calm down.
You're channeling Hannah just a little.
I am.
Which I appreciate.
Learned from both you and Hannah.
Can I rebut?
Yes.
This is not unique to the Celtics. Last year, the Timberwolves were very much built to beat the Nuggets. That was how they constructed their roster, was to have enough big bodies to throw at Jokic to make it difficult for him.
And it worked.
And it worked. It worked. Yeah. So maybe there's a little exceptionalism there, but it's not the only time that it happens. I feel like those are the big trades. I don't know if Kylie still listens to this, but the Raptors did something very dumb, which was they traded for this guy, Brandon Ingram, who's a good player, but not good enough to make them really good. And they've traded, I don't know. They can't decide whether they want to tank or go into a process kind of thing or kind of be better than that. Anyway, sorry, Kylie. I hope you have a different view of that trade.
Mm-hmm. Keep your chin up.
Yeah, hang in there. Okay, tell me about the game.
Okay, I would love to tell you about the game. I watched the Cavaliers and the Pistons play, and they played at the Little Caesars Arena.
That's in Detroit?
It's in Detroit.
Okay.
I don't have much to say about the game. Okay, Donovan Mitchell was out. He's apparently a big deal. Isaiah Stewart was having a really good first quarter. Good job. I have 0 notes, nothing written for quarter 2. Typical. Okay, quarter 3, I noticed something. And I noticed this every time I watch a game. And I have a tip. So I've noticed that at the start of quarter 3, so at the end of halftime, the stands are pretty empty. From what I can tell, people really take advantage of halftime and go to the bathroom and get something to eat or drink. I have a tip because we've been talking about this a lot. So people should really use quarter 2 to go do those things, because halftime, whatever game ops has planned for you is going to be more interesting than quarter two. Plus, the lines will be shorter.
Right. Yeah, never go to the bathroom at halftime. It's a nightmare. So the Clippers opened this new arena this year, the Los Angeles Clippers. This Clippers new stadium, one of the features of it is that they don't have TVs out in the concourse, like outside of, and it's because the owner was like, we want people in their seats. Like we don't want people like, and the stuff that I've heard about actually going to a game there is that it matters. It's like a lot more exciting.
Yeah. Although this game, I don't think it ever really filled up all the way. I think the attendance was not great.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Okay. So in quarter three, this player Garland, so he falls and like hits his head, and he is laying on the floor, head down. And first thing I noticed is that a player on the Pistons went over to him to check if he was okay. That was nice. But then when he finally got up, it looks like he spits on the floor.
Yeah, that unquestionably he spits on the floor.
Is that a thing that happens a lot? Because that seems pretty rude to the people who have to come and clean it up.
I don't know if that happens a lot. I hope not. I don't know that I've ever seen it before.
Yeah. Well, it must have been an emergency.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 minutes left. The Pistons had the lead, but they didn't have the lead at all until the third quarter, and that went away right away. And then right at the end, they were still in it. So it's really good because the Cavs are a good team. So they kept up, and it was close. But then when 1 minute left, this player, Allen, who's on the Cavs, who were up by 10, flagrant fouled a guy. Now, here's what I think is pretty interesting. So he does this screen. It's a screen.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Where he knocks this guy down hard. And then all the Pistons are there. They're ready to fight. They're ready to go. But then I looked it up because I was trying to find a better video of it than me just recording my screen, because you can't screen record on the League Pass. And so on Reddit, someone posted a different view of it where it shows why he did it. The guy he knocked over essentially hit him first, or bumped into him first, and a foul was missed. I don't know.
Yeah, it looked like the first screen, I would guess that Allen didn't like the way that the guy tried to go through the screen. And then he came up and hit him pretty hard.
Yeah, it was pretty hard. And it just seems like you're up by 10. There's 1 minute left.
Yeah, right.
Enjoy your time in Detroit.
Yes.
And then get on the bus back to Cleveland.
Yeah, they probably take a bus.
I think so. I mean, it's really close.
Yeah, right. That's a pretty dumb play to go give the other team an opportunity to get some points with the clock stopped when the game's kind of that close at the end.
Okay, I want to tell you about these announcers and some of the things they said. I watched the stream from the Pistons. Okay, the announcers are Greg Kessler and George Blaha.
Yep.
This is the best name because it reminds me of Bob Loblob, the lawyer from Arrested Development. So George Blaha has been announcing since 1973.
Unbelievable. Blaha began calling Pistons games in 1976.
Yeah.
So he's in his 47th.
For him, he's 80 years old. And Greg Kessler, he played for the Pistons in the 80s. He's great. He's the color commentator. And I like him. He's pretty chill, and he has really cool glasses. George Blaha, I like because he has been doing this for a million years, and he has catchphrases that he's known for, which we've talked about a little bit. So let me tell you some of his catchphrases.
Yeah,
these are from Wikipedia, and then I heard all of them during the game.
Yeah.
Okay. He likes to say things like "from behind the long line" or "the long gun," and he said that a lot. That's to describe a 3-point shot. Okay.
This is what you've been wanting.
Yep. His signature call, which I heard, is "count that baby and a foul." So, or maybe it's "count that baby and a foul." Count that. The basket is the baby, and then they get a foul.
No, count that baby and then a foul.
Maybe he's "count that baby and a foul."
Yeah, talking
probably
some trash.
Okay, so some of the things they said. I love it. Devin Mitchell bumped his shoulder last night, so he's taking the night off. They say it so casually. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
He just like ran into something. He's like, oh, I got to stay home tomorrow. He fires it and fills it. Long gun that goes. Count that baby and a foul. Count that baby and a foul. No, he said it the first way. They call it a wild and wacky first half.
It's like Nickelodeon.
Yeah. Not a lot of flash and dash. That was about something else. And then someone fouled. This is great. Greg Kessler said this. Someone fouled and he did it on Front Street in front of everybody. So good.
Yeah.
So good. So what I was thinking is I made this graphic.
Mm-hmm.
This is my spectrum of NBA announcers. There's no title on it. This is a living document. I'm going to be moving things around and adding to it. But as you can see, on one side is someone talking to a baby. That's one end of the spectrum of announcers. On the other far end is someone yawning because it is boring. And then in the middle, they've got a perfect mix. Not too boring, not too stupid with their language. Okay, so I have Scott Hastings and Chris Marlowe really close to the baby talk end of the spectrum.
Yeah. Okay.
On the far other end of boring, I am so sorry to say, but Katie Wingy and Chris Marlowe are on the boring end. They don't say anything. Right in the middle, who I think are perfect, is Special K and George Blaha and Eddie Johnson and K-Ray from the Suns. And then I'm sorry, Drew and Scal fall between perfect and boring. They're all right. We'll see how, like I said, this can change.
Yeah. I think the
over.
Celtics are a little bit boring. Like I think it would be hard to make them exciting. Scal and Drew have their work cut out for them.
Yeah. Make me proud. I have 2 questions.
Great.
First question, is there a difference between an alley-oop and a lob?
I'd love that question. I don't think so. Now in basketball, no.
Oh,
there are
great.
There are lobs in other sports, but in basketball, I don't think I can think of a time where they would say lob without it being. I guess the lob would be like the pass for the alley-oop.
Yes.
You would toss a lob.
So it's like just part of it.
But for the purposes of your question, yes, they're the same thing.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm ready for a game.
Okay. I have a game. This is a game called This or That. It's rapid fire. You don't think, you just say which thing. Okay. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Need in the privates or pelvic bruise?
Need in the privates. Harden's beard or Jokic's style?
Harden's beard. Okay. Olympics or All-Star Weekend?
Olympics. Referee or mascot?
Mascot. Referee. Doncic or Anthony Davis?
Doncic. Missoula or Eddie Johnson?
Eddie Johnson. Showy or high scoring?
A high scoring. Katie Storm or Abby Chen?
Abby Chin.
Oh, okay.
Black quarter zip or red quarter zip?
He stole one of mine. Black. Local broadcast or national broadcast?
Local. A Dallas 9 or LA 5?
It's the same thing. I'll go Dallas 9. You got to feel better about a Dallas 9. Hannah or Alice? You don't have to answer. Go on. Keep going. Keep going.
I'm going to go Hannah.
Hey, Alice.
Alice turned this off 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, fair enough.
3 foot tall baby or Disney adult?
Oh, Disney adult. My mom or the rest of our fans?
Plead the fifth.
It's fair. It's fair. You can plead the fifth. You get 1 pass.
Dunk or alley-oop?
Alley-oop. The Hawks coach's glasses or the Nuggets quarter zips?
The Hawks coach's glasses. Okay, Drew or Scal?
Scal. Scott Hastings or Doris Burke?
Doris Burke. Fewer timeouts or fewer foul calls?
Timeouts. Jamal Murray or Porzingis?
Jamal Murray. T-shirt cannon or 3-point contest?
T-shirt cannon.
And that's all my questions. Thank you for
Good
participating.
Job.
I think it's time for MVP.
Great.
My MVP is Isaiah Stewart. He had a really good first quarter.
Okay. My MVP, I think, is the Lakers general manager for the biggest heist in NBA trade history.
Yep, that wins. Yep, that's true. Okay, LVP, I'm going to say Allen for the flagrant foul. Like, you guys were almost out of there. Just let it go.
Yeah. And I'll go to Garland for spitting on the floor. Don't do that.
Yeah, gross. Okay, what did we learn? Let's see. I think I've finally been able to demonstrate that I've learned, like actually learned what a screen looks like. That feels really like a big deal.
Yeah. I learned how many Chili's there are in the greater Dallas area.
I'm glad you learned about how many Chili's are in the Dallas metro area.
21.
Okay. So we're going to talk also about what we're going to watch next week. just in case anyone, hey Sam's mom, wants to also watch it. And we'll decide which stream we're going to watch. Last week I said, I think I need to watch the Knicks play because I've never seen the Knicks play, and they're playing the Celtics very soon, like tomorrow our time.
Yeah.
So we can watch that. And of course, we'll watch the local feed with Drew and Scal. I haven't seen them in a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Maybe they've changed their tune.
So we'll watch that. We'll talk about that game next time.
I might actually watch that game. That'd be fun. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's it. Good job, Sam. Bye.
Bye.